Welcome to the SNN.Network Canada virtual event. I'd like to introduce your next presenter, John Abrams, CEO of Venzee Technologies. Sir, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, my name is John Abrams. We're going to walk through a quick slide deck. We are supply chain AI, and if any of you watch the headlines, supply chain is very much in the news all the time. So apologies for the late start. We had some technical difficulties, perhaps related to the continuing Amazon crisis of yesterday, but I'll take the responsibility and the heat for that. As for the slides, you can get them certainly from the Venzee site. Go to the investors section of Venzee.com if you want to see these or have a downloaded copy for yourselves. Next slide, just disclaimer information. The statements I make are correct and accurate to the best of my knowledge. If you want more detail on any of our disclosures, you can check the SEDAR website. Let's get into the meat of this. Digital in today's economy sells the physical. So what I mean by that, by e-commerce today, everything is digital. So if you're a consumer brand and you want to sell to a market, be it North America, be it anywhere on the globe, you digitize that physical asset. Communicating the digital side of that physical product is what allows Amazon or Walmart or any marketplace on the planet to convey to a consumer the information that is used to purchase that product. If you have a digital advantage, meaning you have the very well-equipped teams with the digital knowledge and tools, you have an advantage in the marketplace today. What Venzee does is provide cloud-based AI SaaS platform that is a digital advantage in the marketplace today. By using our AI, brands have a measured 80% advantage over manual processes. I won't get into the detail of that. We can certainly in a direct call share the details of our platform and what 80% AI advantage looks like, but we've measured that. The platform does perform for large brands, and it is an advantage in today's supply chain market. The problem today, and if you read the headlines, whether it's a container cargo ship off the port of LA or it is difficulty in getting your entire product catalog set up at Home Depot, the problem around digital commerce is that there isn't a really efficient way for brands to get that digital product to the retailers. Oftentimes they have to put that in a spreadsheet, or in some cases, believe it or not, faxes are still in use. That all is slow. So if you're looking to get your product set up for seasons, such as the Christmas season or the holiday season or the spring shopping season, what have you, you have to do that on a regular basis if you're a manufacturer. If those processes are inefficient, if they are slow, that is costly, and it limits your ability to sell product. What Venzee allows is automation that transforms that manual process into a machine-to-machine equation. So if you're a brand, typically you have organized your product information into a system. It can be an SAP system or a PIM or a digital asset management system. We allow those systems to connect to our platform. It is cloud-based. It is in the AWS cloud. And yes, we did suffer some challenge yesterday as a result of that. But we are in the cloud, and we are a single AI that brands can connect to and move that information along to a retailer. That is a lower cost equation than having human resources put information in or translate it into a spreadsheet and then email it or send it in some other way. So we are more efficient, we are a lower cost equation, and we have infinite scale. On the retail side, we spend a good deal of our time connecting to retailers, and we have over 400 retailers on our platform today. Manufacturers can select those. They pay us a fee, and that is how we make our money. Want to share just a little bit of an academic perspective here in terms of one of the questions I get very frequently is, yeah, but digital commerce exists today and Venzee is fairly new, so aren't brands and retailers already digital? And to some extent they are, but they're digital based on very old technologies. The first wave of automation in digital retail happened around a concept called EDI, electronic data interchange. And that standardized a set of attributes really created to facilitate the Berlin airlift in 1948. There are companies we compete with today. A part of IBM, they acquired Sterling Commerce. SPS Commerce is based in the States, NASDAQ traded, does big business. OpenText, the Canadian firm, also traded on the NASDAQ. These are companies that are anchored in EDI or technology and standardization that occurred in the 40s. The second wave of technology facilitated more efficient checkout processes. So the barcode really was created as part of a project, an academic project in 1974. And there are a number of companies now, One World Sync, Syndigo, Salsify. These are all anchored on 1970s technology that allowed additional standardization around product attributes. All of that is very manual effort, though. So those companies, while they have large client bases, both retailers and manufacturers, there is no intelligence in the middle. So it's a lot of manual effort. So large companies are doing digital commerce today, but they're doing it with the technology of the 40s or the technology of the 1970s. Venzee is modern AI tech, and so we take out that manual equation, substitute it with actual artificial intelligence that allows manufacturers to communicate in the retail format the way they need to in real time without humans in the middle. Next slide. Well, we're rating it. If it would refresh, there we go. So we provide an AI advantage for brands that are looking to increase their retail presence. Our sales objective, we sell something called a mesh connector. We're looking to have 13,000 of those active by the end of next year. This year, because we're still in 2021, we do have a very ambitious target that we believe we will achieve, and you'll see more press around that target win yet this year. So very ambitious goals. We are a young company. I took over in 2019. There was some technology that had already been built out. We reformulated the team, brought in a bunch of experienced folks in this industry, and are on a path to achieve some very ambitious goals for 2021 and 2022. So in terms of what that AI advantage looks like, without AI, as I mentioned earlier, it takes about 2.5 hours of manual effort to set up a product. So if you are a manufacturer and you're moving a product to Walmart, there's a bunch of manual effort that is required to get that product configured to be sold at Walmart, whether on the store shelf or in the .com environment. With our product, that's less than half an hour of manual effort. So we can do a calculation there to show what that AI advantage looks like. And this is part of our sales advantage as well. So the reason that in a short period of time, we've moved from very few clients to large contracts, and we'll talk about those being announced in the press as we announce them. It is because we can demonstrate that advantage, and brands and retailers understand how to apply that. Next slide. When I talk about our platform already manifests a number of connections, we do have folks in our operations team who target the largest manufacturers or the largest retailers on the planet. We then spend effort to connect to those in various ways. Sometimes there's what they call an API, which is really the digital front door into a retailer. If there is an API available, we'll connect to that API, and there's a bunch of technical work that goes into cementing that connection into our cloud platform. Where there isn't an API, and a lot of retailers haven't fully deployed an API or a very modern way to interface with their systems, we'll find different ways. We'll work directly with that retailer. Sometimes we can help them modernize their input path, so the way they connect to brands may be direct through Venzee, or it may be through another system that we know about and can work with. So we have over 400 of those available today, and we are expecting to be in that same 400 range for a little bit of time. We'll announce our next batch of additions on the retail side yet this year. Venzee was really founded in terms of the first code back in 2014. We did IPO on the Toronto Venture Exchange. That was before my time in the company. So there was some good work, really solid work put into maturing the code base for this company. The reason we have such an advantage is that our code was originally developed by some pretty bright people who were into blockchain and cryptocurrency trading. So most of the digital commerce world in retail is architected on very much older technologies. And so when you get innovation in the retail trade space, it tends to be anchored in things that are kind of outdated and aren't as modern as what our founders came together to produce. We do get feedback on our platform quite frequently. One company that when the pandemic was really challenging their team, they were really struggling with how they were going to get their product information out given the changes that occurred due to the pandemic. So one of the companies that was began using us during the pandemic said, frankly, they were able to survive because of our platform. That is really a testament to not only our team's ability to work with companies who have real significant challenge, but the value of our platform and the applicability of it to provide real immediate value and help a company thrive in the pandemic era. Our KPIs, I won't get into this in detail, but our KPIs for the year we expect to hit. So there are some large contracts, one of which we've announced and several of which we expect to announce in the coming days. So we are on target for our goals for the year, as ambitious as they are, and we are on path for our 2022 goals as well. Next slide, revenue outlook. So when I talk about being on path to achieve our 2022 goals, which is very ambitious, that position will make us the dominant digital path to retailers on the planet. That's a big deal. It's very ambitious, and it's within our sights. For this year, our goal is to have over 2,000 mesh connectors sold and recognize a chunk of revenue from those, and we are on path to do that, and you'll see more in the media from us. There's a lot of activity in this sector. I won't cover this in detail. There's some big private equity players in the United States that have been pushing into this market, and not just this year. This started back in 2018. The supply chain problems are endemic. They didn't just occur because of the pandemic. They've been around for quite some time. My background is supply chain. I ran the world's largest regulated medical product supply chain on the planet. We dealt with 600,000 active SKUs, and we knew something about 1.5 million products on the planet. That's a big deal, especially in a high volume, high turn regulated market. With all of the resources that I had as a number 2 Fortune 500 company, we could not find the type of technology that Venzee provides. So that's why I'm here at Venzee. That's why I'm building this product. That's why we are going to win in this market. I know the need. Others on my team know the need as well. So our board and our operating team are well qualified and talented individuals. I won't get into the detail here, but feel free to download the presentation and look through the bios. They are impressive, and it is a highly engaged board. Last slide, again, our cap table. No debt. We have a lot of shares on the market. I recognize that, and we'll deal with cleaning up our cap table over the next several quarters. But we are in good shape financially. We have money in the bank and shares on the market, and they are value priced. So feel free to engage with me or with the team to talk more about our cap table. Let me just see if there's any questions. There are several. Where do we see our company in 2 to 3 years? Hard to say that there will be 50 companies in this space. I think we will be one of the dominant players in the digital supply chain in the next couple of years. I don't think this is a winner-take-all game, but there aren't going to be 50 companies. There's probably going to be around 5 that will provide these types of services. We have an advantage with our AI, and we're going to lean into that advantage. For those of you that asked when the presentation is going to start, again, my apologies. More detail on our mesh connector and API access. And the question actually gets into some of the more finite detail and permissions and profiles. So it is fairly complex. AI in and of itself is a complex beast. The resources that we use to build out our API, the human resources, are talented and expensive individuals. So on the AI side, we expend a lot of effort, and it is some fairly complex work, but it functions. Our demo performs well, and our operational AI is in place with some really large manufacturers already. So it works, and it is complex. The API side is also complex. So are there different privilege or rights levels and permissions and all of that? There are, to make it more complex, there are also different categories. So when you connect to, say, Walmart, there isn't just one single category. There are quite literally dozens of categories, and each category has a different hierarchy. So it does get rather complex. And if you want more detail on that, do reach out to me, and I'll put you in touch with the operations folks that can get into the details. So that said, our team does know this space really well. If we were to, and many people often ask us to help them in terms of a consulting approach, we don't have the capacity to do that. I don't want to, and we don't intend to build a consulting model, but our team is that talented that we could go in and help organizations build out their capabilities. We are providing a SaaS-based product, so that is really our focus, and we are not going to lean into the consulting side of this. But the question here is a detailed one, and if you want more information, please reach out to us. We also have videos on our site that are tailored for both brands and retailers that get into some of the operational detail of how the APIs work and what you have to do. You can also purchase, I don't think any of you would, but you can purchase a mesh connector to a retailer from our site. That's pretty revolutionary in the space. Usually, if you're going to buy a connection to a retailer, you invest a lot of time and energy as part of that sales process. We can really cut that down with, here's the connection, here's the code, give us your credit card, and we'll light it up and go. Question on the slide 10. I don't remember which slide 10 was, but it's about monthly recurring revenue. I believe, and I don't remember that slide specifically, monthly recurring revenue will be $195,000 in our Q4 projection. So that is indeed an MRR revenue recognition approach, and typical for SaaS-based. So I know we're, what do I expect revenues to be in 2025? We haven't done those projections, quite candidly. So our projections are through, honestly, in 2019 when I took over the company, our projections were through 2022. We haven't upgraded it for 2023. We will in the first quarter, but we are making some other organizational changes that will impact the growth of that revenue. So stand by for 2025. I want to keep this on time, so thank you all for your questions. If you have more, please reach out to me directly or to the team via Venzee.com. Thank you very much. Take care.